I've had a chance to look at my life over the last few weeks, and I realize I've made a lot of bad decisions.
Woody Allen's latest love letter to cinema, a chilling true crime tale from Iran, and Paris and Rome celebrate their shared cultural heritage in an outdoor film festival. That's all coming up in today's show, and to take us through it, I'm joined by critic Lisa Nesselson. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, Olivia.
Now, we're starting with Woody Allen's 49th film, Rifkin's Festival. It's out in France this week, where the director has a huge fan base. His films are a bit of a cultural event, a cultural rendezvous, as we say here in France. His previous film, A Rainy Day in New York, was on screens for over a year here. Tell us a bit more about Rifkin's Festival.
Well, this bittersweet comedy is bracketed by Mort Rifkin, played by Wally Shawn, telling his therapist about all the things that happened during the 10-day trip to the San Sebastian Film Festival in Spain, where his wife, Sue, was working as the publicist for a young French director named Philippe, played by Louis Garrel. How pretentious is Philippe? At a press conference, he says that he hopes that his next film will help solve the ongoing strife between Israelis and Palestinians. Mort, a film professor, remains permanently smitten by classic European art films and worries that Sue, wonderfully played by Gina Gershon, may be smitten by Philippe. Mort, in turn, develops a crush on a Spanish woman doctor who seems to share his love of New York, while others go about enjoying themselves in a charming setting that positively glows, thanks to the cinematography of Vittorio Storaro. Mort frets about the big questions like, why are we here? Is this all there is?
No less. Okay, well, let's get a glimpse of the mood of Rifkin's Festival.
I'm beginning to question everything, what I want, who I am. Who in the world am I?
Philippe happens to be a fabulous bongo player. Isn't that exciting, Mort?
Not since Neil Armstrong walked onto the moon.
Are you under any stress?
My marriage has been fraying.
Can I be frank? My marriage is causing me pain. Sorry about this. Sorry.
Who are you? Just a friend.
Suitably existential. Now, we don't see that in the trailer, but Mort experiences dreams and daydreams in black and white, apparently. That's a reference for film buffs, right?
Oh, is it ever? Whether or not you respond to the clues to unraveling relationships in the present, the film's hidden treasures are affectionate and hilarious spoofs of classic movies from the likes of Fellini, Truffaut, Bergman, Buñuel, and Claude Lelouch. I was lucky enough to be sitting behind Claude Lelouch at a press screening, and it was so sweet to watch him sort of giggle and laugh in the dark at the references to his film, A Man and a Woman. I recently interviewed Woody long distance and asked him to describe the impact European art cinema had on him and his generation.
European cinema became so interesting for us and so innovative and so fresh and inventive and exciting. Innovations by Truffaut and Godard and Lelouch and René were just sensational. They created a vocabulary and an art form, a landscape that forever influenced cinema as an art.
Well, there are people who would argue that Woody Allen keeps making variations of the same movie. Would you agree?
I would disagree even with the proverbial gun to my head. His range goes from side-splitting comedy to serious drama, and whenever people mistakenly believe about his body of work, there are hardly any plot points involving young women and older men compared to the incredible number of rich, interesting roles for women of a certain age. As for the notion that he keeps making the same movie, Woody has earned the right to keep tinkering with a form he pretty much invented.
Okay, well, the both of you do discuss the different perceptions of his work on both sides of the Atlantic in a full-length interview, which you can watch here on France 24 and on our website. Next, we're going to a carefully calibrated account of what goes into trying to tackle an unsolved homicide over the course of 3 years. This is Dominic Moll's The Night of the 12th, which is out this week in France. It's sold widely in the rest of the world. Tell us more.
This is an incredibly good film, a wrenching, suspenseful, completely convincing police procedural that shows the tentacular human toll of a grisly murder, not just on the victim's family and friends, but on the police detective who is haunted by a case he can't seem to crack. The performances are superb across the board, as dedicated Johan and his partner Marceau speak to people who knew the victim, Clara. Sweet, uncomplicated 21-year-old woman. She enjoyed having sex and didn't always choose her partners wisely. As shown in the deft interrogations here, almost as disturbing as an unpunished murderer at large is the cavalier manner in which some young men feel justified in treating women like paper plates.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the very particular tone of The Night of the 12th.
Clara avait 21 ans. C'est pas parce que les médias s'y sont pas intéressés qu'il faut pas s'en occuper.
Quand on trouve pas dans les premières semaines, ça devient très difficile.
En tout cas, c'est toujours les femmes qu'on fait brûler. À commencer par Jeanne d'Arc et puis toutes les sorcières.
Vous trouvez pas ça bizarre, vous, que ce soit majoritairement les hommes qui commettent les crimes et majoritairement les hommes qui sont censés les résoudre?
Je sais pas.
C'est quoi cette obsession à vouloir cramer les filles? Pourquoi vous êtes tous à fantasmer là-dessus?
Vous voulez savoir pourquoi elles avaient tué? Moi, je sais, je vais vous dire.
So I believe the script here was adapted from a book about the Criminal Investigations Unit in Versailles, but the action's been transposed to Grenoble. There is some quite graphic content, I hear. Potential viewers might be put off knowing that the assailant douses the young woman with gasoline and then lights a match.
Yes, well, the director finds a respectful way to shoot that horrifying scene, but we should be made uncomfortable by something like that. The film starts with French statistics. Each year, there are 800 murders, 20% of which are never solved. That seems almost laughably low compared to, say, the USA, but the film takes this one case both objectively and personally. Woven into the smart script are eternal themes worth contemplating. For example, as we saw there, that most crimes are committed by men and also most police are men. And as two characters put it with lived-in authority, there is something seriously amiss in the relationship between men and women. The tone is achieved always through deeply human details.
Okay, well, certainly some echoes of those themes in this next new release. It revisits a chilling true story that took place in Iran. Holy Spider is set in the city of Mashhad, and it follows a young journalist as she investigates a series of murders with one thing in common: the victims are all sex workers. Yet the local police seem to be in no hurry to bring their killer to justice. Here, director Ali Abasi paints an unforgiving picture of institutional misogyny, corruption, and the court of public opinion. The film premiered at the Cannes Film Festival this year, and its leading lady, Zar Amir Ebrahimi, won the prize for Best Actress there. She told us more about her own struggles against the more conservative currents in Iranian society, which pushed her to flee the country in 2008.
Comme une femme. As a woman, I was not allowed to have a voice for many years. Now this prize sends a message that we can't be erased. We have a voice, we just need to be courageous.
فکر می‌کنید که پشت پرده داریم توطئه می‌کنیم. شما باید مراقب رفتارت باشی. علل خصوص در مشهد مقدس.
این کیس را ول کن. این نوع سیاه‌چاله. طعنه داره.
Indeed, she's not the only artist who suffered at the hands of Iranian authorities. There's been a worrying spate of arrests recently among filmmakers. Lisa, tell us who's involved here.
Well, Iran doesn't seem comfortable with having acclaimed artists as citizens. Iranian director Jafar Panahi managed to continue making award-winning films while under house arrest for years, first in the confines of his apartment, then with a small camera mounted on the dashboard of various cars. While he still can't travel internationally to accompany his movies, he has been allowed recently to move around within Iran. But according to sources, when he went to the prosecutor's office on July 11th to see about the fate of fellow director Mohammad Rusloff, a Golden Bear-winning talent who was arrested on July 8th, as was Mostafa El-Amma, Panahi was himself placed under arrest. Rasuluf is in solitary confinement in Tehran's notorious Evan prison, where Iranian writer and poet Bakhtash Abtain is said to have died of medical neglect this January. January, and the authorities are not pleased about the documentary Roslouf made about Abten's death in custody. Iranian film directors are being treated as if they're more dangerous than enriched uranium, but in fact, their award-winning films are one of the exports that consistently reflects very well on Iran. That makes 3 talented Iranian film directors arrested and imprisoned in recent days, and the international community has definitely taken notice of this harsh, apparently unprovoked move. The Cannes Film Festival immediately sent out a strongly worded demand for their release, as did the Berlin and Venice Festival organizers.
Very concerning news indeed. Lisa, thank you very much for this week's movie wrap, and we're ending this show with a festival that celebrates the cinematic heritage of twin cities, Rome and Paris. Dolce Vita sur Seine brings open-air screenings of Italian cult, classic and new movies to the banks of the Seine here in Paris. With Antonioni, Fellini and Carlo Verdone on the bill here, residents of the Eternal City have been treated to gems from the French film archive. There are also concerts, theatrical performances and exhibitions. Italian actress and director Jasmine Trinca is the special guest of the Paris branch of the festival, presenting her new film Marcel. We'll leave you with a clip. Otherwise, remember you can get more movie news on our social media and our website. That's france24.com.
Abbaia. Lasciami! Abbaia. Ti agio! Lo capisci che ti agio?
Sai cos'è questo? È uno scrigno, perché tu hai un cuore grande e il mondo è un posto crudele.
Solo tu hai la chiave, mamma.
Io e chi ti porterà davvero nel cuore. Ricorda che all'arte si deve la vita.